Good afternoon, world. This is Joe Bergamini coming to you live for the Sabian Education Network. Once again, it's afternoon here in New Jersey, the New York area, but it's afternoon in morning in the LA area where my esteemed guest is beaming in from. Thanks. So, welcome everybody. Come on into the room. You know the drill. Say hi in the comments. Ask your questions. I'm really excited. This week we have someone who I've been dying to interview for a long time, and he's been quite hard to pin down because he plays with basically every well-known, famous, influential pop artist on the planet. So he keeps getting booked. And but anyway, he was able to finally find some time that we could fit him in. Please welcome Mr. Brian Frasier Moore. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Joe is in the house.
we both in the house. So
Yeah.
I always like to give a little bit of an intro, although I'm sure that Brian doesn't need much for our audience. But the list of people that he's played with is pretty staggering. Christina Aguilera, Madonna, Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Usher, Alicia Keys, Babyface, Toni Braxton, Patti LaBelle, the Backstreet Boys, Jill Scott, and there are many, many more. He also has quite a resume of doing award and TV shows, some of the most high profile and high pressure, I'm assuming we're going to find out, gigs on the planet, like playing at the Super Bowl. He has experience playing musicals and every other kind of gig you could possibly imagine. And also has quite a highly developed website, which has a lot of different offerings in the educational side. So hence a lot of great Sabian Education Network stuff to talk about. So we're going to get to all that. So you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Awesome. So Brian, one of the obvious place to start, it's an SEN talk. You're from Philly, and I know you came up or had your first experience playing in the church. I always like to know, did you have any early, what was your first falling in love with the drums? And did you have like a teacher in the beginning? And did you have a mentor who kind of guided you in the very beginning? I know you were very young when you started, so.
Yeah, I definitely did. At that particular time, I was 5 years old, growing up in church in Philly, 100% Philly guy. And so at that particular time, I had someone who was an icon in Philly. He just passed away not too long ago. His name is Minister Alexander Ingram. And he was my biggest musical mentor at the time. He would play the organ, and I tell this story all the time. He would play the organ and he'd be beating his hand on the side of the organ. He says, "Brian, follow this. Just follow this." So I'm 5 years old as a little kid, like, following, but he really groomed me as a kid. So, and amongst others, I mean, the Philly scene, later in my life, the Philly scene became monumental to me in my career.
That's so young to be starting, you obviously had a load of natural talent where you could keep time at that young age. Were there, like, did you see another drummer play, or did you have a favorite drummer, or was it somebody else in the church that you saw play, or did you just jump on with no other drummer?
No, we've always had in that church demographic, it's like a whole world. There's so many amazing drummers. The Philadelphia scene, Delaware, Jersey, and then we would have church convocations. You go to Oakland, so it was a whole world of drummers in that circle. So I used to see all types of drummers: Gerald Hayward, Little John Roberts, like all of these guys as we're kids. So I had a lot of inspiration growing up.
And did you at some point have any like formal drum lessons, or never?
I would say more like hard knock life lessons, like learning lessons on the job. Like, wow, I can't slow this song down. Wow, I got to be more musical. Wow, I have to be more emotional. Wow, I'm late, so they're not even going to let me play. Like, I learned lessons like that, and then as I got older, when reading music came into play, then that's when I sought out formal training.
Oh, so you realized you were going to need to read on certain jobs, and so you sought out a teacher to get that together?
Yeah, somewhat of a teacher, the kind of teacher that's a huge mentor, Ricky Minor,
Right.
the kind of teacher that's a huge mentor, but he's on the spot. Here's this book. This is how you do it. He'll sit with you. He'll explain. Now take it home. Come back. So my training was kind of on the job and pressurized because there was a job to do. You know.
How much, like, when you're doing these high profile gigs, obviously you're on stage in an arena, they don't want you reading, you don't want to be reading. When you get called by a new artist, does charting and your own charting or reading anything come into play with those, with, say, somebody like Janet Jackson, Madonna, Justin Timberlake? Is
Right.
there involved with the gig?
So there's two answers to this. So most of the time you're on tour with these artists, you have plenty of time to rehearse. You have months to rehearse. So really charts is not needed. And the amount of music that's changing, it would be crazy to have someone there printing up new charts. This intro's changed now. Now we're not going to do this. The second verse is out. Or let's put the song remix here. There's so many things that happens in the rehearsals that I think reading the charts would probably become a problem, you know. But then there's situations where you'll go do a television show and this artist is doing this song and you got like 10 or 12 different artists. And then like Adam Blackstone or Ricky Minor, they'll hand out charts. You'll have a book with all of them in there. So it's just good to know both. You just never know.
Right. It's so funny. Everybody watching, all my SEN friends. Hey, Bobby, all the guys, Bruno, Joe, everybody's watching. All the guys and girls know my experience with Broadway, and these tours that you do. They're like, when you're talking about the verse coming in and out and different things, like the show. If you go out with Madonna, it's such a big production. I'm assuming with all the pyro and the lights and the effects and the costumes, it is like a Broadway. It's so choreographed that. It's a great point that you make, because when you're in rehearsals for a Broadway show and you're writing the book, it's like they have actually a copyist, like someone, they have two people there full time to, like, when they take the verse out, they got to redo the charts. So your skill to, like, remember changes on the fly in rehearsal has to be pretty high.
Well, that's my second method because originally it was two answers for me. So the one answer is yes, doing those. And then my other answer is I have a chart system for myself that I write out. So I'm like intro, 8 bars. There's an accent at bar 7, beat 2, blah blah blah, verse, and I write I have tons of books from Janet Jackson's tour, Justin's tour, all of these tours that I keep, and where I write the song out because it's changing so fast. And my insight on rehearsals is I want to come into rehearsals knowing the music, even if it changes on the spot. I still want to know what that is and be able to play freely and not have to think about, oh, what was that change, while I'm, and not to mention they tape our rehearsals all the time. So all of our rehearsals are recorded. They're put up on the Dropbox. Everybody can hear them. I don't want anybody hearing my mistakes, like, so it's a lot of different angles. So I have two ways of retaining music.
That's awesome. So when you're, like, once the show is set and you hit the road, like if, let's say, Madonna or somebody, like, are you, like, if she's changing costumes or whatever, is it like to a T where, like, you might be starting a song on a click and, like, you're in the dark and the MD's watching to see when Madonna's changed and ready, and then you get a count off? Is it, like, totally locked like that?
Well, yes and no. This is a different angle. With Madonna, when she does wardrobe changes, we do wardrobe changes. So yeah, so her whole vision with her show directors and everything is for the piece. She'll have drumline instructors come in just because one song is going to be structured around drumline. So each song becomes a separate production. So she sees different costumes, she sees different lights, she sees a different mood. So most of the time it is locked in, yes, because you have a certain amount of time to get dressed, and that's when everybody's running around and move, get out of the way, I gotta change my clothes. So yes, but there are wardrobe changes for us, and we have to go down to change clothes and come back up. So here we go, click starts, and we're back into the show.
That's fascinating. Let's stay on that for a minute. So when you're on the road and you're working with Madonna, for instance, is there a layer between you and her of, like, the MD, or will she come to you and say, hey, Brian, like, I liked what you did in that, I liked your energy there, or can you do this? Like, is there direct feedback from her
Absolutely.
to you as a drummer?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, because she knows the vision she wants. She knows what she wants it to sound like, especially from the drummer's seat. So she's very vocal on what she likes and what she doesn't like, or what she prefers. It has to be. I believe it has to be a personal relationship with your artist when you're working together like that. It's no way. It's weird to be separate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mean to blow smoke at all, but obviously you're from knowing you not super well, but just the little I know you, your personality is so professional and outgoing. Like
Thank you.
you're such a pro. I can clearly see why uh, you make these artists comfortable, and I know that's a big part of it. You know, you have to be able to take that direction when it comes.
Oh my God, yeah. That part right there, like learning and I get it because there was a time in my life where I was playing gigs and I'm like, oh yeah, oh, I'm the man. Nobody could tell me nothing. And then those experiences hit you when you realize it's not about what I can do. It's about if I can do what they want. Now, if I can do everything that Justin Timberlake wants, or Madonna, or Janet, or whoever it may be, then I become valuable at that point.
So with let's say that you're working with an artist, and you know, I guess I could use Madonna as an example. If you're given this set list, do you um, like I'm always curious. Like, obviously, you sound like yourself, but
Hmm.
let's say Madonna's going to do "Cherish." Like, does she want it? Like Jeff played on that, right? So do you hit? You know, do you get have the chance to like, oh wow, I want to like recreate this like the record because I like the thing, or do certain artists want the record reproduced exactly?
A lot of artists, because I believe it's tough for artists because artists hear their songs over and over for years, the way that it's been recorded, and some might want to change it. So if you change it, will the fans still receive it the same way? Will they say that's not Holiday, or whatever? So yes, that energy comes into rehearsal. Sometimes if I get a set list beforehand, I'm researching all the originals. Like I buy the whole discography. I buy all of the music from Madonna. I bought all of her music because I needed to know. I needed to dive into her mind and her world. And I learn all of the originals. I pull the trigger sounds. I create the trigger sounds. I get those just in case. I do all of that pre the gig, and then sometimes we come into the gig and she might, or whoever the artist is, might have listened to a remix that one of her friends did. Now they want to incorporate that into the. So it's really no set. It's really just being open and being confident in your position to be able to deliver.
And are there times where you're expected to replicate the sounds, or does the MD or the artist provide some of that?
I mean, depending on the gig, you can go get the drum sounds from your Pro Tools guy. Some gigs might not have tracks separate for a certain song, so then I have a method of going back to actually getting those trigger sounds. And so either way, I'm going to get them sounds.
Yeah, yeah. And if there's like, some of the like with Christina Aguilera or some of the artists where there's like multiple, there's certain times where there's so much going on with the drum track, like samples and all the percussion and everything. Like, I'm at this point, I mean, how do you go about like distilling what it is you're going to play? Is that a discussion with the MD? Like, what's a loop, or do you know that going in, or?
Yeah, I think most of the time that's a discussion with the musical director and the Pro Tools engineer. So we might sit around and say, well, here's this song, Brian. What do you want to play? Or Brian, I want you to play this and leave this, or give this to percussionists. It's like a designate. It's like a huddle. Okay, Brian, what are you going to take? All right, I'll take that. I'll take that. And so that's how it becomes. And if we play it and it doesn't feel right, then we might come back and retweak. But it's definitely a team discussion.
Yeah. Wow, that's great to know. I just want to put up a comment from my good buddy Rich Reichel from Denver. Love the live JT show on Netflix. BFM kills it, man. Good comment.
Man, thank you, Rich. Thank you, man. That's so you never know, man. When you play, I'm not a guy to be like, oh yeah, I played the JT show, I killed. I'm always like, oh God, look at that mistake. I meant to do that right there. Oh God, it means a lot when I hear stuff like that. Thank you, Rich.
Do you hear you say that, analysis of yourself is very helpful to me. Really, thank you for saying that, 'cause that's like,
Oh,
you know, um, let's stay. I got off of your beginnings and I want to come back to them, but let's stay on this topic. So you mentioned, you went through a period where you're playing and really delving into your chops and stuff as a drummer, which we all must do, of course. Uh,
mm-hmm.
but then, for you to be thriving at the level you're at with this level of artist, um, the skill set that makes you succeed, you know, how what would you say are the key differences between pleasing the musical director for a huge pop artist on a stadium tour, as compared to what might please other musicians or other drummers who are just fans sitting in the audience?
That's a fine line. I take those two worlds to the edge, to the to like you can't even see because I want to be super authentic to the record, which means this is the record. All right, this is the record sounds. This is the way the record feels. This is the energy in the record. You know how you listen to "Rock with You" by Michael Jackson, and you hear that beginning. It makes you feel a certain. It has a spirit to it. So I want to be all of that, but still, I'm a drummer at heart. You know what I mean? So what I try to do is I try to implement all of my little things into the spirit of the record, and I try to, and instead of just playing over top of the record, my whole drummer mentality. So I try to implement. There's a vocal. If the bass line is doing something, I might do something extra to that. If there's a obvious guitar power chord, I might jump on that as my extra. So I'm trying to designate what I want to put my drummer energy into, if that makes sense.
That totally does. But what are the like non-negotiable things for the MD to say? Like this is now you're advising everyone who's watching, right? You're going on,
Hmm.
all of a sudden there's this guy or girl over there behind a keyboard sometimes or whatever it is. They're counting you off, and they're going to decide, oh, should I keep Joe or Brian on the gig? What are the non-negotiable parts of the job? On a
Non-nego- Non-negotiable. You have to learn the music. You have not just learn what you're going to play over the music. Learn the music. Learn everything about the music. Learn where the vocalist is sitting. Learn the spots for the bass player or the horns. Like it's just no non-negotiable. You have to learn the music and become the music. After that, if you want to add extras to it or chops or whatever, it is non-negotiable that you must put that in the spirit of the music, what's happening within the music. So basically, non-negotiable music first.
Hmm. Are you one thing that always gets talked about a lot? I'm assuming that on a lot of the gigs you're playing to a click.
Yes.
Okay. Are you asked like to play ahead or behind the click at times, or just you just play to the click and you play how you play and you bury it and you're good.
Well, this is an interesting thing because playing to the click, playing right on the click actually insinuates that all the programming is on the click. Now, this is not always true here. You know what I'm saying? And this is nothing negative to anybody. Sometimes the music doesn't land. Sometimes the drum beats don't land exactly on the click. So for me, the click is where it is. That's where supposed perfect time is. So okay, that's a reference. All right, cool. But I got the drum tracks over here with the lead vocals, and the lead vocals is a little ahead and the drum tracks is behind. What do you follow? So it's constantly a thing where you're like, okay, that's where the click is, but the feel of the song is a little laid back. So I got to play a little back. Or this part accent is a little abrupt. So I might have to switch and play. So that's my method on playing to a click.
That's I hope everyone understands how challenging that is to do. And at the end of the day, the band and the artist just have to walk away saying like, wow, that felt great. And like they probably don't even know why it felt great.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's some of my band members, even in JT's band. We was in rehearsals, and they were like, "Hey, everybody can hear a click, right? We're just testing." And a couple of guys were like, "Nah, I just follow Brian." And listen, I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment. But let's think on this part that we've been talking about. No, you need the click, bro, because I need help with designating where I need to be. But yeah, it's a challenge.
That part about the tracks, percussion tracks, or the tracks like not landing exactly right is really a huge thing, because it's like it could totally take you off the rails if it's a little, you know.
It could, and not, don't even talk about having to play some chops because it's a big accent section. Bam, bam, bam. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, now I have to do chops over top of this madness.
Yeah.
So it becomes a challenge.
Um, this so I watching the Super Bowl and watching you. I couldn't see you, but I could see you back there getting ready to play. Some of these really really big things like playing on the Super Bowl. Like, is do you does the size of the stage and the size of the audience ever get, like, do you ever get a little bit like butterflies or anything? Like, I mean, you're doing some huge stuff.
All the time. I'm not even going to be like the macho man. First of all, I'm always nervous. I'm that guy. I'm always nervous. I always got to talk to myself before the show. And, but yes, on stages like that, absolutely. But, it's a blessing. It's a lot of emotions. You're nervous. It's a blessing. A lot of people are believing in you. Your companies have supported you. Like, it's a lot of emotions. But when you sit in that seat, it's go time. All of those things have to go.
Right. Do you have any special, like, pre-show thing that you do? Like, are you a warmer upper? Some guys are, some guys aren't.
Yeah. I warm up a little because I'm getting older, and my body said you better warm up because you're not 20s anymore. But yes, I have a little warm up that I do. My tech will bring me something to the room, a pad and some sticks the sticks that I'm actually going to use. Like when I walk out there, I need those in my hand before the show, and then I'm listening to music in the room with my bandmates. Everything's fun. We're having fun. Woo! Stretching and things like that. So my morale, my body, and just my fluency for the show is kind of my combination for getting ready.
That's great to know. I was reading some stuff about, like, those kinds of performance things, and it said some people like to be on their alone and stuff. But I think that camaraderie can actually, like, really make it better. Like, it, right?
Absolutely. It's nothing like being in the dressing room and your homeboys is messing with you, busting on you. Look at your pants. It really loosens you up, and it gives you that thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. So just give us real quick. You're the lights go down at the halftime show, and you're behind the drums. In the 5 seconds, like, what happens? How do you get the cue to start? Like, what is going on?
So we're there waiting. I think for all of viewers at home, it goes to commercial, and I think there's like a 6 minute time slot here. And so there's a massive amounts of people that's going running and setting up the stage. There's people everywhere. And you're trying to get through all of the people to get to your section. It's like chaos. And then you sit up there and you're all set and everything. And people are giving you countdowns. 1 minute, 60 seconds. You're like, oh my God, my nerves. And so I got to go to the bathroom. And so like, and then the lights go down and then it's like soon as the lights go down, it's just something comes over you, and you're like, "This is it." They will not talk about this performance for the next 20 years of me not giving my all. So
That's so heavy, man. It's so heavy. It's like the such a dream come true, man, that you just get to live. It's so awesome.
it's really a blessing, man. It really is.
That's
I'm really
you well deserved the way you play and carry yourself, man. Just before we have a lot of other stuff to talk to, but so I wanted to ask you, some of the artists you work for are so, they seem to me to be really dialed into the groove, and so, like, what does Janet Jackson need from her drummer?
Man, first of all, Janet Jackson is the best. I just want to say that. And then she is, first of all, she knows her music so well. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, the combination that they had between them, the Minneapolis sound that she grew up, Jelly Bean Johnson, all of those guys that she grew up in. That's a whole world you got to meet her at first and foremost. Where Jelly Bean played the electronic cinnamon pads, live, and so now when you playing a Janet gig, you have to trigger. It's like you got to know them sounds, you got to know the beats, you got to know her moves because she's dancing and she likes certain accents on certain things. So you just got to be dialed in, for somebody like her. Your history, where you are now, what's happening on the stage. She's just the best.
The dance move thing. Are you ever interacting with a choreographer at rehearsal?
Actually, most of the time, how it happens, I'll just when we're in rehearsal, and in my mind, I'm like, man, I wanna put something to that move right there, and I'll be like, no, not today. I'm not gonna do it today. And then I come back tomorrow, and I'll be like, all right, I'll try it today, and I'll do it, and she may look back and say, and I'll be like, whew, like.
And then it's in, and then it's in, and then it's in.
And then it's in. And then the choreographer might come and say, well, Brian, we like that accent you added. Can you put an accent? And it starts this whole thing between you and them. It's really cool.
Wow. Justin Timberlake, same question.
I mean, he's just, you gotta, it's the same type of thing, man. You gotta know music. You gotta know his music. You gotta know where he is mentally as an artist and a producer and a musician. I mean, he's artist, songwriter, musician, producer. So it's like all of those things wrapped into one. And really, the thing about Justin is really showing your energy, your trusted energy to the music. You know what I mean? Like if I was Justin and I would say I was thinking like him, I would say I want my musicians to express, but I want to trust what you're expressing. I want to trust that it goes to the music. So he's kind of the same type of thing.
Yeah. That's great, man. Wow, we're almost halfway done, so I want to switch gears a little bit here.
Okay. Okay.
I want to keep going. That is such great information. There's a question back here. It's from my good friend Bobby Angeletta, sorry, Bobby. What forecast for you in the future, considering the current world landscape with the artists staying home? Now, I put this up there because we had a little warm-up talk yesterday, and you mentioned that you have a lot going on getting your home studio to another level. So,
Yeah, I mean, no one knew this was coming, and it's so unfortunate. We've never been through this before, but it looks like everything is trying to go to a virtual type of performance, award shows and TV shows like that. So I'm just really happy at the point me and my wife got our new home and built this home studio before COVID hit, and then COVID hits, and the music industry changes, and I'm in a position to roll with that change. So what I foresee right now, and then I don't know how long it's going to last, but what I foresee is kind of musicians having a place to record, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for other clients, whether it's for promotion for yourself. We don't have the clubs anymore to promote. Everything is about you being able to record yourself, audio and video, whether that be to make money or to promote or advertise yourself.
That's great advice. Well, to that end, would you like to take us through a little bit of your
Hey,
what you have? You have a wonderful setup there. Actually, this would be a cool time. That wonderful shot there. Can you start by telling us what we're seeing in your Sabian setup there?
absolutely. Those are the actual symbols from the last Super Bowl I did with J-Lo and Shakira. Those were the design, the secret sauce engraving, and they sound good. Listen, you see that they're still up in the studio. What I like about those is that it's very slight dampening on the symbol.
Oh,
Not
really?
like it's dead or dull. Yeah, very, very slight, but it's the perfect amount of dampening for recording. It cleans my mix up so much, and it keeps the body. So those are my babies.
Wow. What kind of ride is that?
That's a Chester Thompson liquid ride.
Oh, wow. That's a heavy guy.
I've been using that for the last 12 years.
Oh, nice. And I actually didn't know that so you sent it back to get it imaged like that?
Yeah, I just sent them my cymbal setup,
Oh, wow.
exactly what I use.
And how about the stacks over here on the right?
That's that XSR stack. It's
Oh,
a, it's
really?
a
Okay.
yeah, that's the XSR stack. I think what's that, a 15? I think that size comes in. Um, and right above that is my 18-inch Evolution,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then we have the Liquid Ride, and then I have my 10-inch Splash there, my
Hmm.
Evolution Splash. I have the 17-inch Legacy, and
Hmm.
then the 18-inch Evolution,
Oh,
and
wow.
my hi-hats are 14-inch Evolution.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the Evolutions, you can do everything with them. They're so popular for that reason.
It's so good. They're really good.
Why the two mics on your floor tom?
Oh, okay, so if you notice, I have two mics on my signature snare, my first snare there as
Yep.
well, and
Yep.
then over top of my second and third rack tom, you see another mic
Oh,
right
yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
And I have two in the kick drum, so I have two separate setups in my studio. One for recording, where I have all of my presets going to that, and then another for online lessons, online performances. It sends a separate mix to everything via my computer, whatever I'm doing on there.
Oh, really? And then yeah, because like when you do the live lessons, you don't need to run Pro Tools or a DAW or anything, right?
Exactly. I just go straight from, I use the H8 Zoom handy recorder. So it gives me 8 inputs, and I have the extra piece that has 4 more inputs in there. So I have a total of 12 inputs from
Oh,
going from,
wait, say
the-
that. What is that Zoom thing again?
it's called the Zoom H8. So
Oh,
it's like a handy recorder, but it turns also into an audio interface. So
oh,
I run all my mics into the H8, goes H8 to my computer audio interface, and now Zoom can read it, Skype can read it,
yeah.
Facebook can.
But do you have to do? We did so many of these sessions about this stuff on SEN. You have to do a workaround for Skype, right? Because it only hears one channel.
Well, the Zoom, I forgot to tell you, the Zoom audio interface can take all of the lines and turn it into either a mono out to the computer or a stereo out to the computer. So that's how I get my full sound into the
Okay,
computer.
hang on. You just that was like the key piece of information. That's amazing. All
Yeah.
right, you're a genius. I knew it. Okay, let's look at some other pictures here. Yeah, you can see the
Okay.
different mics here in this view. You can see your nice signature snare. You're a Pearl, right? Or
Yes, sir.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Uh, and then what are we looking at here?
Okay, so that's the H8 up there under my laptop, as you can see it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I have my mixer there where I'm running all of my snares through, and then my 2-channel headphone mixer right there
Mhm.
by Audiotronics, I think is the name. Excuse me if that's wrong. And then I have my 8-channel video switcher there, so I have 7 different camera views on the kit. I run them all into there, and you can see those as well on everything online, like Zoom, Skype, whatever it may be. You can see all the multiple views.
Oh wow, man, that's
Yeah,
that's tremendous. Well, we're gonna get to what you use that all for with your offerings in a minute.
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the other side of the kit.
It's the other side, my Roland TD50 for all my trigger sounds, the SPDSX and the Roland TD50 facilitates trigger sounds to all of my snares, kick drums, and whatever else I want to do. So when I get those sounds from the record, like when I'm recording at home for artists or stuff, I'll go and get the trigger sounds, put
Uh-huh.
them in the TD50, designate it to where I want to go, and now we super authentic.
Oh my god! And you have triggers on all three snares and the kick.
Yes, sir.
Oh wow! And do you have all the snares mic top and bottom too,
Yes, sir.
as I expected. Oh wait, I skipped one. Oh cool, top view here. Yep, you can see that those symbols look killer.
I love those symbols, man.
You
I
you
don't
like
want to get Sabian in trouble. I don't want to
no
get him
no
in
no.
trouble.
Well, at Sabian.com, anyone interested can find out what the offerings are on the graphic symbols. I believe there are a few different offerings. And of course, the models sound great, with or without the graphics on them. So
Yeah.
neither one of us will get in trouble. Don't worry, we're good. So, and is this like an onyx kind of head on there, or what is it?
Yes, that's an onyx head on there. On my secondary snare, that's the hybrid Evans hybrid. It's like a simulation of a woven head, really really thick. I get some good fat snare sounds out of that drum head.
Nice. And yeah, just another great view. Oh, it's cool how you can see how everything is. Is that an iPad down there at the underneath?
Yeah. Yep. So I have also have a 360 camera in there. So I record 360 content for BFM VR, which is coming out soon, virtual reality. So I record 360 content in the room, and I can see a preview on my iPad.
Oh man, that's great, man. Full service, man. Totally.
Yeah.
Are you and so you mentioned when we spoke yesterday, you're doing content for award shows and film scores from here now?
Yes. So all award shows. I did the Billboard Awards. I'm working on some award shows coming up. I'm working on some film score. Everything that I'm doing right now, I do in this room. I spend a lot of time in that room.
Wow. I can imagine. And are you getting like tracks and a click from a producer, whoever's in charge of the thing, and are you sending back like multiple takes like they can choose from? Or are you doing your own edits and sending back one take? Or
Yep. I'll do what I feel they're trying to look for in the music, and I'll make sure everything is clean, make sure all the stems are right. I send them a stereo mix of the drums as well, of electronics and triggers and acoustic drums, just in case they want to take my mix. Hopefully they take. But anyway, I send them stems, one take stems, one take stereo mix, and then if we have to change things from there, I'll go back and change them.
Mm-hmm. And what DAW are you? Are you a Logic guy, Pro Tools? What do you got?
I'm a Reason guy. I'm a Reason 10 guy. I've been using Reason for over 10 years. And when they finally had the upgrade to where we can have these audio tracks going in and I can record and all of this, I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to use because I know it,
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. Yeah, I guess it's funny. There's so many different ones, and you learn once you get comfortable. It's just so hard to relearn. Like, what menu is that in? So you stay with the one,
Yeah, and we move too fast. Like I engineer my own sessions, so I move way too fast for my own self. Like I'm like, just command this, go back, record. I know where it is, and that helps on the recording process.
So how long? How you know it super well. How long before you're like, okay, now I'm ready to. I'm gonna play. I just had my Wheaties. I'm gonna go play a track right now. The time from when you sit down on that seat until you're ready to record, to get your rig going, when you put the red light on, how long does it take?
It depends on how I feel about the song. If I know the song, like I was listening to an arrangement this morning, something I have to cut today, and now I know it. I know the whole arrangement. I know what I need to do. So I'll go in, sit down, play through it once, listen back to it, make sure the drum sounds are good, make sure everything is a good level. And then I might be one more or two more after that, and then I'm good. I'm ready to go clean up and send off the stems.
Right. I kind of meant it like, you're at the stage with the technology where it's like you have it so automated that like there's no like boot up in 5 minutes you're recording. Like you don't have a checklist. You got to start up, or you just have it so memorized that you don't even.
Oh no, I have templates. So I turn my computer on, I boot up, I go to that template. What am I doing today? I'm doing a war show. I go to that template, open it up, and guess what? We ready to cut. Just like that.
Wow, that's great. Cool. So many comments of everyone admiring your setup.
Thank you.
My friend Jeremy's asking if there's a gear rundown. I don't know if you have that on your site, maybe some of your gear that you use.
Mostly on tours. I haven't done any for home yet because I'm still putting it together. I'm not done yet.
All right, good. Okay, let me Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have
No, go
something?
ahead.
Okay. Um, I want to get to your website, and while I'm asking this, I'm going to change this screen share around so I can share it. Um, you have a lot. One of the most complete sets of services available on your website that I find to be really, really intriguing. My good buddy Rich from Denver had asked a while back here, um, how do you get the big gig? And I thought this is essentially what you're offering on your website. You don't just have online lessons; you have webinars, you have consultation, career consultation. So maybe you could walk us through a little of that. Like if someone's a really good player, but they don't know the other things they need to know, is that somebody you could help?
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we deal with at BFM consultation. So the consultation is really meeting you where you are. It has to be like that. If you're a career musician, if you aspire to be a career musician and you want to get into sessions or recordings or commercials or films, um, there's a whole machinery. And it's been around forever. This music business has been around. Now, I don't know everything. I ain't been around forever, but this is my 27th year of doing this professionally, thank God. And I see the same things over and over. I see why people get hired. I see why people don't. I see people that have attention to detail. I see what people are not even thinking about personality wise. I see people are not ready for gear. People are not ready to interpret that way. People don't know who the musical directors are. It could be a whole wealth of things. So consultations are there to walk you through your process, to make you better, to get you where you want to be, to get you in the right mentality of being able to impress this musical director, or put out the right content that someone might look at you and be like, oh yeah, I need that type of player. Like, what is that type of player? You know? So it's
Um,
fun.
I know that actually is really cool to that. Like you enjoy uh, the process of helping someone polish the diamond a little bit, right? Get
Yeah.
um,
You know, I love seeing my clients when they see their own progress, and they're like, yo, the first video I sent you, Brian, man, burn that video. And I can see it. They're paying attention and so aware. So it's a great service.
Yeah. Do you have you ever I want to run down the choices on here, but when you're doing consultation, have you ever had a situation where you had to help someone with their like personal approach? Maybe they were being a little pushy or a little annoying and you had to kind of help them see that it's
Abs-
that's a hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the best thing the best way of showing people that is just giving them alternatives. You know, They're- just give them alternatives. I give them alternatives according to experience of I've had. So if this person is pushy, and I say, okay, well, you know what? I remember when I wanted more money. I remember. I feel you. You want more money. Your value should be this. But as you go at them with your passion, they don't have to respect your passion. So it's best to go with them with facts. It's best
Mhm.
to go with them with things that you can fight to get more money or to get more things. So I use alternatives just to make them think when next time they're about to go off, maybe I should try another way, you know?
With did you always like do you think that your early times where you had a lot of mentors who looked out for you, do you think that fed your desire to give back and do that for other people?
Absolutely. That's the way I grew up from even mom and dad, growing up in church. That's what it was all about. My mentors, they would take me under their wings. Don't do this, dress like this, shave, get a haircut. It could be anything. And those things stayed with me and they helped me. And I see how people respond to them. So I want to help other people.
Yeah. That's terrific. Looking at the menu on the site, can you when I bring it up, can you see it live changing there?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Um, so yeah, so you have the part with consultations, and
Mhm.
for everybody who wants to check this out, you can go through and um, look at what Brian has to offer. So um, really, you're open to almost any area of the industry where someone has questions and needs help.
Absolutely. That's the key thing about it is that no matter if you're a trombonist, singer, producer, poet, photographer, The method of the music industry is the same. These are not lessons. These are consultations on your career. So the method is still the same. The people are still the same.
And what's the music business boot camp? That sounds
So
interesting.
there was a boot camp. I would put together a boot camp. I need to do one pretty soon, maybe after all of this COVID. But it'll be like 4 to 7 days of all of us just together, constantly 6 hours a day, boot camp. We're in there going through drills, songs, soloing, expression, groove. I have a whole curriculum, 6-part curriculum that I wrote, and so we really get it in the boot camp.
What do you think? Excuse me. What do you think are some of the areas of the business where some great musicians you might have met didn't? What are some of the areas you find you need to coach people in the other areas of the business, and what are those areas?
A big part is really promoting yourself. I mean, as a musician or a poet or whatever it is that you aspire to do, you are a business, you are a brand, and you have to promote yourself and advertise as such. And that's the main thing. No one's ever going to know your worth, your true value, what you can do, what you can't do, your strengths, and all of that unless they see you advertise.
That's a great point. Do you find yourself having to coach people, and do you coach people on? It seems like when you're a young player, you don't know you don't know maybe what your content is in terms of copyright. You don't know what it's worth. You don't know how to protect it. You don't know how to value that. Is that something you talk about too?
Absolutely. But that's a slippery slope because I believe experience brings value. So if you don't have a lot of experience, then you might be still figuring out what's your stronger value. You know what I mean? So it's a slippery slope, but we really get into it. As a person that comes to me with that, I want to know what your experience is, what your value, what do you have to offer? Why should I come to you for this? And I want to hear what they say about themselves, not to challenge them, but I want to hear the enthusiasm about themselves and the confidence about themselves. And then we go from there. That tells me everything.
No, that's fantastic. Um, but you do also give drum lessons, right?
Yes, we do one-on-one private lessons. I got a lot of students out there. A lot of those guys I'm really proud about. But we have fun. I do those through the Zoom H8 as well, so we can hear each other clear.
I can tell you what's going to be on my Amazon shopping cart when this. That's great. That's great. And you also have some. You have some pre-recorded lessons as well.
So those are being finished up now, but it will be BFM lessons to go. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. So this is the curriculum, the 6-part curriculum. It's five to six subjects in each one, and those will be for pre-recorded, and they'll be up for download really, really soon. They're all from the home studio. So you can download the lesson, you can download the pack, you can download the whole course, however you see fit. But I figure that will help a lot of people.
Yeah, man, this is really intriguing. You have number 5 is work for hire drummer, and you have work for hire tuning, work for hire retention. Like, how is the work for hire tuning thing different than the earlier just learning how to tune?
Because now here you go, work for hire. I want to get hired by Justin Timberlake. All right, cool. Let's look at your tuning. So you have to have general tuning. First of all, they have to be able to resonate in those theaters. You have to know that super high pitch tuning will come off super high pitch tuning, but you need general tuning for 30 songs. You have to play this one drum set through the entire show. So your tuning is very important. How many snares you have and how you have them tuned. Justin might have a Timberland song. That means the smallest snare, high pitched snare, or he might have a Rock With You, Michael Jackson type of song, which means my fat snare. So just knowing how to tune your kit for work for hire, for the unknown, for whoever it may be, is a whole thing.
Wow. I mean, the one thing I'm taking away from this, and I think hopefully our listeners are getting too, is that if I was to boil it down, is really, it looks like you're offering, like, think about every aspect of you as a brand and a product. It's like not just your chops, but every last thing. How you yourself. And even seeing you have a section in this with electronics too, right? Like triggering and everything and all that.
Yes, yes,
That's great.
that's under the curriculum as well.
Yeah.
And I offer play-alongs at the end of the course. Then let's put all of that into play.
Mhm.
You've learned this, we've gone through this, gone through. So here's a play along for this course. Let's put that into play and let's work through that.
Yeah. That's great. How did you find the time to make this curriculum? Did you do it while you were on the road, like in hotel rooms and stuff?
Exactly. My notes on my phone, that app on your phone notes is my best friend. So, you just think and you see things and my wife will be like, "Oh, you should do this." And I'll be like, "Oh, great point." Put it in the notes and then I'll go back at night and look at it and say, "Oh, I think I can make something." It's a process. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. With all that, it's like such another thing is like to use your time productively, even when you're, sitting in a hotel room or something.
Absolutely.
That's a great example of that. Um, awesome. Well, there's so many great offers. And then how is uh, so the webinar thing, you're doing some like paid classes for multiple people or
Yes. So the webinar comes into place where we'll have, instead of a one-on-one consultation, instead of a one-on-one lesson, we can have group discussions. We can have open forums. We can have webinars. Well, before the COVID hit, we could have live webinars. You could come to your school or your college or things like that and have a webinar. But now we can all do it online, Zoom, like everyone else does.
right, right. That's it. That's the way of the world right now.
Yep.
Let me get this up a little bigger here. Great. And I just want to put it up so everybody can see. It's bfmworld.com. You can go on there and see everything that Brian has to offer. It's really pretty amazing. Just the amount of advice and availability you're making to. Do you think you're going to still have that all on offer when you start going back out on the road?
Yeah, absolutely, because it started there. BFM lessons started on my days off on tour, renting out a random rehearsal hall and offering private lessons for 10 people. So
Yeah.
it's always going to be there.
Nice. So, who are some of the drummers some of your players that you're checking out now that are inspiring you?
Oh man, so many. Okay, so I'm checking out Mike Reed. Mike Reed inspires me so much. You guys check him out. He plays with Janet now. He played with Rihanna. Amazing musician. Chris Jernigan, amazing drummer. Checking him out. He's super super amazing. Little John Roberts, Chris Johnson, Devin Sticks Taylor. Guys, so many. See, if I start naming names, then I'm gonna forget somebody. Dennis Chambers, my OG. Dom Familaro, my OG. Omar Hakim, my OG. Like, it's so many, bro. I keep my eyes kind of current on what everybody's doing. Thomas Lang, that's my guy. Like I just have so many, and for different reasons too. Thomas Lang's unorthodox playing, and he's a really nice guy. Dom Familaro for his extensive clientele list for lessons, over 1 million frequent flyer air miles. Is that like even real? So for different reasons, but a lot of guys.
Right. Well, I'll make sure I send your love to him because he's a big fan of yours as well.
Oh man.
Um, is there and then as far as like, did you go through a period where you getting back a little bit to the formative thing? You're playing with all these huge pop artists, but I'm guessing at some point you went through a period where you're like, let me get my jazz chops together. Let me make sure I know the right, Latin grooves in case I'm on the gig and they need a mambo or something like.
Yeah. Well, that's the wonderful thing about being from Philadelphia at that time. That stuff happened early on before I even started working. Like Jamar Jones back home, Kevin Arthur, we would have a jazz trio. We would always play like Chick Corea masterpieces. We would always play straight ahead. Or Leeds Jazz Club in Philadelphia, Mike Boone and all of the. So all of that stuff was kind of embedded in us young. You know what I mean? Before we hit the road.
And so like, have you run up like lately against any, thing where you were in rehearsals and you're like, oh man, I need a song on. That's probably a bad example because every drummer knows those, but like some stylistic thing where you had to go back and do research.
Like on the style of music.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, recently, I just posted something. I think it was yesterday. My nephew, his name is Jedi, and he's amazing keyboard player. I think Jedi is what 13, 12, something like that. He's amazing. And so he says, I want to do a video with my uncles and my dad, and his godfather is Adam Blackstone. I'm his uncle and his father. So we just put a song up, Bolivia by Freddie Hubbard. We put it up yesterday. So we did a virtual performance of that. And so even for that right there, I had to go back to the old records. I'm like, wait a minute, let me go back and listen. I haven't been on that for a while, and I'm listening and I'm researching, and I'm like, so yeah, it's a constant thing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we wind down here, was there like some things that you had? I know when we first set up this interview, the first day, I guess you worked with Alicia Keys recently, so do you have anything that's actually physically happening, like concerts or anything, or is that stuff all pushed off like most people?
No, I have a couple of things coming up. I have one performance with this artist. It's brand new, so I can't really say, but it's coming up this weekend, and I'll be posting more about that. And then I have some award shows coming up. I think the Soul Train Awards is coming up, and then who knows what Alicia, if she'll need me for anything, I'll be there. But she's in promo season, so she's promoting a new record, so there might be some more television shows. But mainly everything is pre-recording at home, sending it out to the shows because of the COVID and everything.
Is there anything on the calendar for 2021, or are you not sure yet? Like,
I got something cooking, and I'm so itching to say. Woo, I'm so itching to say, but I can't say. But there is definitely something I'm super excited about cooking up for 2021.
well, I hope you're out there, and I hope everybody watching has plenty of gigs next year, and we're all back.
Yes, absolutely. And you guys be safe out there. Stay encouraged too. This is going to pass.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up, I have one more question for you because you're just so on every aspect of your career. Like, are you a workaholic? Like, are you the kind of guy that's at your computer at 11 o'clock at night, at 1 o'clock in the morning, like working on business ideas and stuff?
Actually, I am a workaholic, but I have cutoff hours. I have cutoff. I'll get up early in the morning, say good morning to my wife, call my mother, talk to her, and then I'm in the studio. Bow, 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 chopping the top and I going, going. I'm workaholic, get it done, get it done. Around like 7 p.m. at the latest, I have to stop because me and my wife, we have dinner. That's just a ritual we like to do. Let's make dinner together. We meet in the kitchen, and then the night winds down. Now I might be sitting in the bed because Adam will send me an arrangement at like 12 midnight. I might put my earbuds on and be like, okay, but not in the studio. I have cutoff times.
No, that's great. Life balance, right?
I have to. I have to.
You find time to like, to like, do you have any other interests or hobbies outside of playing? Like,
Before this whole COVID, yes, theater was a big thing. Chicago, Lion King, Miss Saigon, all of that stuff, man. I'm a big theater head. I bet you didn't know that.
I
But
part two. We got to go down into this.
yeah, but before that, theater was a big thing for us, so but
Yeah. Well,
now it's like Netflix and Blacklist, what can I
yeah,
do?
yeah. And do you like, find time that you have to find time to keep in shape and stuff because you're doing some pretty physical playing and all.
Yeah, we have at home we have a little small facility, and I try to hit that in the morning. And maybe if I'm talking to mom, I'll put the earbuds on and do it at the same time. I'm multitasking from the time I wake up, basically.
Yeah, well, that's a skill everybody has to know now. But yeah, you got to, even when you multitask, you have to make sure you're not letting one of the tasks be not paid attention to.
Absolutely.
Well, Brian, I just before I close up, any final words of wisdom for the SEN members? You know, everybody who's a drum teacher out there.
To all of the teachers, my hat's off to you guys, especially in this time. You keep educating our world. You keep making our youth better. So congratulations to all of you. Joe, you the man. We following behind you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sabian. Sabian, I've been with you guys. This is my longest endorsement. It's like over 20 years that I've been with you guys. So thank you for everything. Thank you for the journey. You guys don't get enough credit, but thank you so much for supporting my world. I appreciate it.
Brian, thank you so much. First of all, Sabian could not have a better ambassador as an artist and a person really that embodies our values and certainly I find personally really inspiring, and the company's proud to have you. Please don't ever go anywhere. We love you. Your cymbals sound great. You're a wonderful artist and person, and I can't thank you enough for giving us an hour. This has been really inspiring. I've been waiting to have you, and you did not disappoint all of us. We're so happy that you came on. You get this special prize when this happens, which is I'm going to bug you to come back again at some point.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I love it.
Awesome. We'll hook it up again, and good luck. Enjoy the rest of the year, and everybody stay safe. Thanks everybody for listening once again. We'll be back next week. Dom's back on Thursday, like always. I'm back on Friday, and we'll get some great stuff happening. So thanks again. Brian Frasier Moore is wonderful.
SEN.com.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.